Hello, Addie.
Hi, Iris.
So, what's this podcast about?
I guess this podcast is an excuse to talk to people we used to know and kind of catch up with them since we last spoke. So basically we want to see how other people's worlds continue existing even after they no longer exist, in our worlds, or maybe only exist as a shadow. And we want to hear their version of the truth, past, present, and future. So today we'll be talking to someone
that I know from high school.
Yeah.
Daniel.
So tell me what he's like, Iris.
Well, he's like smart, creative, and down to earth.
Thank you for the compliments, but not really.
But you were nice enough to take the time to talk to us today, so super appreciate that. Especially since this is like such an off-the-cuff kind of project that Iris and I came up with, so
yeah, of course.
That you took the
Thank
time
you guys for having me.
Yeah. So, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, actually. Yeah, so our semester just ended, and actually I just got back to Ann Arbor, but the last 2 weeks I spent in Troy, so it was really relaxing.
Oh wait, that's kind of like the opposite of what I think usually happens, where it's like after finals you go back home, but for you it's kind of like you went back to school.
Yeah, so I guess it was just I had to finish I started like spring semester, so I came back to Ann Arbor just to like finish some work, and I have an internship coming up like in a month, I think, so I just want to spend some time in both Ann Arbor and Troy before that started, like catch up with some friends and stuff.
Nice. So wait, this is your third year? Well, you're going into your senior year of college?
Yeah, I'll be a senior at the University of Michigan doing computer science. I heard you were a computer science graduate as well, so.
Yeah, I graduated in the wonderful pandemic time. Yeah, it
kind of sucks,
great.
But yeah, I'm sure you can relate to the computer science struggles of a fellow major, so.
Yeah, although I'm pretty sure you're taking some pretty difficult courses, though. I don't know. What have you been doing this past year for computer science?
Yeah, so last semester I took the operating systems class.
Oh, no way. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's basically like, I'd say it's probably one of the harder like in-depth C++ courses that our university offers. So I was really busy with that, but I think it was a really rewarding experience, so I'm happy I took it.
Wow. Okay, respect. I think most people take that the very last semester of their entire college experience because they're so afraid of that class tanking their GPA. So I'm so impressed. Thank you. I'm glad you survived.
Wanted to get it over with early, I think.
Yeah, that's a good call. Oh, right. Iris, did you want to ask the name question? I think we plan on asking everyone this, actually.
Yeah, so like if you could change your name, what name would it be?
If I could change my name, I guess, well, this might be a kind of unique answer, but I just finished my Japanese minor here. So when I went to, I started studying Japanese in high school because I went on like an exchange trip the summer of my freshman year. And I think the Japanese name I got in that class was Mashiro. So it's really weird, but if I'd had to change my name, I'd probably just think of a Japanese one.
Nice. Wait, so how did you get into the Japanese minor?
Well, it started, like I said before, kind of in high school, where I think we had to do 2 years of a language. And then the other options were Spanish and French. And I think everyone else took those classes, so I kind of wanted to be a little unique, so I took Japanese. And after the exchange trip is basically when I decided that I actually really enjoyed like the culture and the language and everything. So, and then coming into the University of Michigan, I know that our Japanese our Japanese program here is actually like really, really strong. And I like a lot of the professors here actually write some of the textbooks using like the other colleges and stuff. So I decided to just take some classes here. Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know. That's such a great resource.
That's cool.
Yeah, my so I was born in Japan, but like obviously I didn't stay long enough to learn the language. Yeah, so like the only words I know are really related to food because it's like yeah. I mean,
where in Japan were you born?
Fujisawa. I'm actually not too sure where that is. I know.
Yeah,
it's
I
just
haven't
around
heard of that one
Tokyo
before,
area.
but yeah,
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
definitely a Japanese city.
Yeah. Probably did not pronounce it as well as you could, but yeah, that's so great. I
Yeah.
love that you learned a new language. And so say that name again one more time. The one you would like, if you could change your name, the one you would use.
Mashiro. Yeah, it's actually it's from a manga that I read that like kind of inspired me. It's a manga about like people writing a manga, and I don't know why I just like, really
That's so
connected with
meta.
that, so, yeah. But yeah, at some point I just like couldn't stop taking Japanese classes. I really liked my professors, so yeah, I just kept taking classes, and now I finished like a minor.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And speaking of like really liking your professors, would you say you have any heroes that you kind of look up to, or I don't know, just like certain people that you try to emulate or are really inspired by?
Yeah, I guess kind of beyond like the personal ones, like my parents and some of my friends that I look up to, I'd say not necessarily a professor, but like there's an author that I really like to read. His name is Nicholas Nassim Taleb. I don't know, you probably don't know who that is, but he wrote the book The Black Swan, which is kind of comments on like our economy, kind of society, and like essentially the structure of a lot of things, and like fragility and that kind of stuff. It's kind of like a theoretical book. And after reading like some of his books, it kind of like changed the way I thought about a lot of things. So I definitely say that he's someone that I'd like to try to emulate and stuff. Yeah. His thinking process is just really inspiring to me.
Oh, cool. Okay, I definitely have to go read that book then. When you first said The Black Swan, I thought of like that ballet drama, but obviously it's not.
Yeah,
it's not the same thing.
It does get mixed up with that. I think there's a movie. I don't know if it's the same thing, but there's a movie called The Black Swan that kind of gets mixed up with it. But I definitely recommend people checking out his books. Yeah.
Okay, got
That's
it.
cool.
Mhm.
So, what motivates you to wake up in the morning?
What motivates me to wait? I guess that is a really important question, because I guess once people start coming to college and you kind of don't have the structured life of high school where you're forced to wake up at a set time and go to class at a set time, sleep becomes like a lot more important, because you kind of have to take charge of it. And I don't think I really realized this until like my sophomore year in college. I started to try and like really give myself rest, because you tend to become dysfunctional as soon as you're getting less than like, I don't know, 7 to 8 hours of sleep a day. So I mean, recently I've been trying to wake up early in the morning, and I think the reason I do that is because when I wake up at like 6 or 7 a.m. in the morning, that's kind of like the time of the day where I'm really able to have some alone time and like have solitude, have like my thoughts to myself, and kind of reflect on life and think about like kind of just really like have time to myself to think about what I want to do. And I know a lot of my friends, they like it's like standard college life, but you stay up late and then you wake up like in the afternoon. But when you're waking up at like 3 and 4, it's just everyone's like at kind of like the social hours, and everyone's like moving about, so you don't really have space to like find solitude. So this last year has obviously been kind of in a pandemic, so people have kind of been home with their family, and a lot of other people like living in the same place. So that's why like morning is kind of the only time that you get to yourself. I guess that's the main reason I wake up early. I don't know if that like directly answers your question, but
Yeah. No, actually, I can totally relate to that. There's something about waking up super early in the morning, and it's like the world is so quiet. And if you want to go outside for a walk, even if you want to go to the gym, it's like you have the place to yourself, And it's so calming, and it's just really nice to have like a sense of privacy. So especially now, I know like a lot of people are living at home with siblings and parents. Like it's so important to find time for yourself. So yeah, I totally get that.
That makes sense. Even though I like to wake up in the afternoon.
Yeah, I don't know. Wait, what time do you usually wake up, Ice? Like noon-ish?
Well, technically I'm awake at 10:30, but I get out of the bed at like 12.
Yeah, I know some people like to, just chill in the warmth of their bed,
Right.
that's also a thing. Yeah.
I can relate to that too. It happens.
Yep. So, what other questions do you have, Addie?
Hey, well, I guess I kind of wanted to follow up. I kind of think this is in the same vein of, like finding time for yourself in pandemic. Like, is there any way you like to relieve your stress?
Okay, so I think this is this is actually a really good question because recently I've been connecting with a lot of my old high school friends again after college. Our semester ended, and when I started talking to them, one of my friends actually recommended me a book. It's called Digital Minimalism, and just from the title, you could probably get an idea of what it's talking about. It basically just stresses kind of emphasizes the importance of being away from technology and not having. I guess a summary would basically be that in kind of like the digital life right now, people are kind of constantly braided by emails, notifications, and all of that. And the argument is basically that when we stay connected to the online world, like 24/7, we don't really get like the time to kind of de-stress and deconnect because we're constantly having our emotions spiked by these notifications and stuff. Mm-hmm. So because of that, even when you have like alone time per se, like relaxing time for yourself, you're not really able to fully recover because of this constant connection to the online world. So I guess recently I've been, it's really simple fixes that I think everyone kind of knows, but it's hard to implement until you kind of reaffirm to yourself the importance of it. Mm-hmm. Taking time with your notifications off, kind of detoxing from technology, and I really found that like by staying away from my phone and just talking to friends, I'm able to be more present, basically relieve myself better, kind of de-stress myself, So that's been really helpful for me.
Would you say you spend like maybe before you started implementing this kind of habit, would you say you spent a lot of time on social media, or is this just like it wasn't really an addictive problem? This is just something that you tried to be more mindful about.
Right. I guess for me, it's not as much. I definitely use social media, but again, as like a computer science major, obviously it's hard to stay away from the screen, and it's just a lot of not just social media, but your email, like watching videos online. I guess technology has kind of become a form where a lot of these big tech companies, they kind of vie for our attention. So they build a lot of, they employ a lot of technologies to kind of like capture our attention, and we're basically exchanging our attention and then for them to make money. So that's kind of something that like once you become aware of, you're like, you kind of don't want to give into that, I guess. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Yeah, I do feel it like, it feels so strange, I have to say, as a computer science major and graduate, where it's like we become aware of all these super crazy and really terrible problems that come from the technology that we are now becoming like a part of creating, right? So it's just so weird. It's like I feel bad about all these side effects of technology, like for instance, infinite scroll, like that's definitely one of the most stressful and also addictive things that people have ever invented. Mm-hmm. But also, a lot of friends of mine want to interview and work for Facebook, and some of them do intern and work for them. So it's like, you hate them, but you also, this is your job. Like, how do we get out of this? It's just so tricky.
Yeah, it definitely sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but I definitely think it's really important as the people who are going to be creating these technologies to be kind of mindful of these issues and kind of questioning ourselves whether or not we're really building stuff that will be helping people in the long run, and whether or not we're like contributing to society in a positive way, or if we're making something that could potentially cause harm, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Gosh, I can't remember that term. There's something, I wish I could remember, but it was something about like along the same vein. It's like this way of thinking of like creating technology for good instead of just for a profit. Mm-hmm. So yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. I hope we can get to a point where most people are doing that one day.
Yeah, that's awesome that you could definitely relate to these things.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so Daniel, I don't really know you, which is why I think I'm like asking so many questions. But you
Yeah,
know
feel free.
Iris, right?
Yeah, me and Iris, we kind of grew up together. We've been family friends since we were really young, and I'm also friends with Iris' sister. You know, I think we've been in the same grade, so like we kind of grew up together, vacation, all that stuff. So we definitely consider her a close friend.
Nice.
Yeah, basically, I've known this guy for like, I don't know, since like a very, very long time.
Yeah, I know her parents like really well
Yeah.
too. Just on a vacation, anytime there's a break, we probably go over to each other's houses, like have a meal together or something. So
Yeah. And sometimes even when one parent cannot pick up the child, the other parent does so,
carpooling and everything. Yeah.
that kind of thing.
That's sweet. That's sweet. So wait,
Yeah.
I want to kind of hear what both of you have to say about each other, since I don't really know you, but I would love to know what your favorite thing about the other person is. So whoever thinks of their answer first, go ahead and say that.
I definitely say that one thing I really admire about Iris is kind of her willingness to try new things. I know a lot of the stuff she does, I'd probably be a little intimidated to do. I know like since we were young, I've seen her, pick up a lot of things, especially, I know she recently, Iris, I think, if I remember correctly, on Instagram, you started like a singing Instagram where you're posting videos of you singing.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's really inspiring to me that you're able to just kind of like post that out there for people to see. I definitely would be really self-conscious of myself if I were to do that. So.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, that confidence is, I really admire.
Yeah. Well, there's one thing about that I have to like say. It's mostly because those songs, those covers have already gotten views from people in China already. That like
Oh, that's
they have like
awesome.
high viewage, so that's why I put them out on my Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. But one thing that I really like about Daniel is that even though he was a gamer, he played League. But like he can actually like control his time like pretty wisely.
Yeah, gaming's a big problem in our generation, but yeah.
Yeah, some people have their friends on gaming and it's just like it takes up their whole day.
Mhm.
Even when they do come home and like try to visit their sister, but that's okay.
Wow, so salty, Iris. I wonder who you're talking about.
That's okay.
Yeah. Well, actually, me and Lisa started gaming together, so you can't really blame. Yeah.
That's
Oh,
true.
man. Wait, what do you guys play?
So this is a funny story, but when I came to the University of Michigan, I actually joined our collegiate League of Legends team for a little bit.
Nice.
The freshman year, it was just for fun, but I definitely met some of my good friends there. So even though I'm off the team now, I don't really play as much anymore, but I definitely don't regret the experience. And it's kind of like, your years of playing video games like culminated to something, so it was nice.
Wow. Wait, what is it like to play competitively? Is that what it is? You're playing competitively?
Right, yeah.
Oh,
So
wow, okay.
esports has been something that's like kind of like popped up in the last few years, and it's probably something a lot of Asian parents don't like that much, but it's kind of like competing in like any other sport, or kind of like, I guess it'd be more akin to something like chess where you're not physically moving, but it takes a lot of mental concentration and teamwork, and it definitely builds up a lot of good skills that I say that would be helpful for like the future. So
Yeah, for sure. Like anything, I guess, like any kind of teamwork kind of game, even if that's on like the soccer field, if it's in a video game, I think it's always like somehow useful. I wish parents didn't look down on video games so much, because it's actually like super creative space, and you can make a lot of friends through it. So
it's something that's nice for people to connect on, but I'm also thankful to my parents for helping me control myself when you're like younger, because a lot of people do struggle with like gaming addiction and stuff nowadays. So.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess maybe it is a bit too addictive. I don't know, because kind of like you said, parents didn't really let me play video games, and so I have like zero exposure to that world. But
Right.
I'm glad you found it later on in your life, so that's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess my next question for both of you would be, what was your first impression of the other person, like when you guys first met?
This is gonna
It's
be a hard
okay.
one to answer because
Be
I don't even
honest.
I don't even remember the first time I met Iris, I don't think, but I do remember that ever since we were young, I always found her to be a really bubbly and energetic person. So I guess that's probably my first impression that I remember. Yeah.
Iris, what about you? What did you think of Daniel?
First impression. Same as Daniel. I probably won't remember the very first one, but like, he was always a really nice guy. Like, very nice.
Thank you.
And like, I know sometimes when I had like little temper issues, I don't know, it's just like, or burst out crying out of like nowhere. He's always like going like, "It's okay, it's alright."
I grew up with a younger sister, so.
Oh, I see.
But
Interesting. Okay.
So that's why like, I always think he's like pretty nice. Besides the fact that he's kind of picky when it comes to eating, but that's it.
Whoa. Oh, okay. Now I have to know.
oh, we're
What
just
does he
calling
think?
each other out now, are we? What she's referring to is that I don't like seafood and some vegetables and yeah.
Wait, that's not too many things. I'm not too much into seafood, but
Right.
yeah. I don't know, vegetables though. I
Yeah.
enjoy
Yeah.
the vegetables.
I can't help it. It's just the way I grew up.
That's
Yeah.
okay. We're over that now.
Mhm.
But like, yeah. But like, what I'm really curious is that like, what was your first impression of like the schools you went to? Like, were they all good impressions or were they bad impressions or like what
You mean like
impressions were they?
since elementary school or
Like the schools that we've been to together, like middle, high.
middle, high school, college? Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess going to any school is like your first experience is gonna be a little bit intimidating. I think Bolin was going from elementary school to middle school was a big jump in the number of people. So I don't think I was thinking too much about middle school because back then I was really, you're still pretty young, so you're just kind of like in your own head, just thinking about what you want to do. So
Yeah.
as long as I had my friends with me, you know, it was probably pretty, it was gonna be hopefully pretty fun. And then high school, going into high school is kind of like after, you know, I kind of found my own group of friends and
Mm-hmm.
it was nicer to, you know, kind of know more people. And
Yeah.
I guess going to high school, I felt a lot more secure and confident and kind of like, yeah, I was really looking forward to high school because you get to pick some of your own classes. And I thought that, I mean, I was a middle schooler, so I thought the high schoolers were cool. And then coming to college, it's, you know, a whole new experience, moving to living by yourself for the first time, kind of looking to make new friends and stuff. So I was excited for that as well. You know, I came into University of Michigan, you know, obviously it's a good school and I was really excited to kind of explore like what I want to learn in the future. But the school is definitely hard. I mean, that was my first, like, it was like the first time in my life where, you know, I took some classes and I'm like, wow, this is not easy. Like, this is not easy stuff. So I was definitely struggling a bit. Freshman, sophomore year, kind of getting myself oriented with the pace of stuff. And I think Adina could relate to this, but computer science classes are, they're tough. So you gotta get started on projects early, kind of learn how to learn, kind of figure out stuff like
Yeah.
Stack Overflow becomes your best friend.
Oh my gosh, yes. Seriously, I could not live without that thing.
Yeah, you just kind of have to, you're kind of left to your own, like, your own tools, I guess. So it's not as much like high school where you're kind of guided through the learning process and professors kind of just give you the instructions and you're kind of expected to learn by yourself. So that was definitely a change that I had to get used to.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I also feel like there was more like responsibility for your own success and failure, I think, where it's like you had to take the initiative to get there early or like, I don't know, sign up for office hours or make time to like reach out to the professor. Yeah. Although
Yeah.
University of Michigan did not make it easy though, because they do not have enough TAs for like the thousands of students who sign up for one
Oh
class.
yeah, office
So-
hours can be like 12 hours long. You just sit
I
in there waiting.
know.
Yeah.
Oh, so crazy.
Yeah, so like what I meant was really like the culture of like middle school and high school. Like, what was your first impression of like the culture of it, like the cliques and whatnot?
Oh, okay. I guess
Were there books?
cliques. cliques
Like
really
middle school and
kinda-
high school though.
I think cliques really became a thing like kind of starting in high school because for
Right.
me at least in middle school people kind of just I feel like everyone was really young and they didn't really have like kind of like the stereotypes and stuff like embedded in like society kind of like I feel like as you get older and older you kind of start forming more like in group out group kind of mindsets and when you're like young you're just kind of like playing with everyone and then I feel like in high school is kind of when like a lot of individual closed off friend groups started forming, which I think might have been a problem, but I also think that by having a group of friends that you're really close with is also beneficial in some ways, I guess. So I don't think I had too much judgment about any of like the culture of these schools, I guess.
That's
Yeah.
cool. Because
Yeah, it
I
sounds
feel
like there
the
was
same
good
way.
and bad. Oh, okay, really? You didn't
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I didn't find any cliques or anything middle school and high school. Because I always found my own people. Like I'm the one that's finding people
Right.
instead of like the one that's always being found. That kind of situation. So
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I have such an opposite impression of high school. But I'm glad you guys thought so highly of that.
Was it bad?
experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't feel so great with the clicky nature of things. Like, but you know, I can see what you mean. Like when you were saying you have a close group of friends you get really close with, but it also comes at the cost of excluding other people. So,
Right.
yeah, you know, I think there are pros and cons to it. So maybe overall it was like okay, but I definitely felt like people could have been slightly less exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
yeah, but the exclusiveness, like it's really prominent when like the school dances, like prom and whatnot, come along. Like literally, like when you have to find people to put at a 10-person table, that's when exclusivity like comes into like, wow, I thought we were friends, but really, we weren't. So
The peak
sad.
of high school drama. It's just homecoming and prom, isn't it?
Yeah. You're bringing back
Yeah.
memories.
I had to squeeze myself into a prom group. Thank you very much.
That's awesome.
Because I was a floaty. I was a floaty.
Is that a word?
Is that a
Yeah,
word?
like
It's a word now. It's a word now.
Okay, alright,
It's a
alright.
word.
You
I
know
get
what I
your
mean? Like a
meaning, yeah.
social butterfly, as in like
Yeah,
a
for sure.
floaty.
For
Because
sure.
like usually those people are the ones that end up being the ones
Mhm.
left out in like the choosing tables and stuff like that. So like,
Right.
damn.
I feel that, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I really felt in high school. So sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what did you think the other person was going to major in?
As in about you, Iris?
Yeah, like what did you think I was gonna major in, and what did I think you were gonna major in?
I feel like I wouldn't have been. I feel like a number of majors would have made sense, and I wouldn't have been surprised by it. I guess the first thing that comes to mind would be like something in fashion. Because
Ooh,
I remember,
Right.
yeah, I remember. I think it's because we talked about it in high school, where you said you wanted to do something in fashion, and I
Yeah,
found that pretty interesting. So, yeah, probably that. Yeah.
yeah, that video has a lot of views now.
Oh man.
Just saying. But yeah.
What about
What I thought you would have majored in? Totally something to do with gaming. So literally computer science was like top of the list because like it was like gonna be like the most like acceptable by Asian parents
me? Yeah, so you guessed it then.
anyways. So like yeah, but like gaming, art design, like anything else with gaming would have been like something that would have topped my mind for you, yeah.
Okay. Wait, for some context, what did you actually major in, Iris?
What did I actually major in? I majored in communications. Cause I cause that's the only thing that like I felt like I could accomplish. Because like it didn't have any math requirements. It didn't have any other like requirements that I really like suck at in high school. So I was just like, I really, yeah.
It's definitely gonna be like applicable to like a lot of business jobs. I feel like so.
Yeah,
Mhm,
and I
yeah.
minored in like public relations just to narrow it a bit more.
I feel like it's a good major for you too. Yeah.
Yeah, you're good with connecting with people. You're like very easy to talk to, so definitely fits with your personality.
One funny
That's
thing
great.
is, I think Iris probably knew me better than myself because I did not think I was gonna major in computer science coming into college.
What did you think then?
I mean, in high school, I was like really big into science, and I really liked
Right.
biology. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I was thinking of something in science, something related to science. So I went
okay.
complete 180 and just I don't even
Yeah.
know why I started picking computer science. I think it's because yeah, it's actually really interesting because a lot of people from my grade, a lot of my friends, we were all really into like science in high school, but all of us turned into computer science majors once we got to University of Michigan. So
Uh-huh.
That's interesting.
See, I actually have several friends who like their parents were doctors, and like starting from middle school, they were like going to science Olympiad, and they're like so sure they're going to be doctors. And that's exactly what's happening now. They're in medical school.
yeah.
But yeah, definitely like the other people kind of took a different route. And definitely a lot of people ended up in computer science. So yeah, it's a growing field. So hey, got more friends you can relate to career wise, I guess.
Adina, you went did you go to Troy High as well?
Yes.
Oh gosh. So you know the computer science teachers in high school.
Oh, I okay, so I didn't take AP Comp Sci, but I did take the regular computer science class with I think at the time it was Mosheri.
Sherry, yeah.
Yeah.
It would be really funny to visit them again because I was really, really lazy in that class. I think I slept in that class like half the days that we went. It was senior year, but me and Mosheri, like he was such a nice teacher that he just like let us do whatever. I think it'd be funny to go back and tell him that I actually ended up majoring in computer science. Awesome,
Yeah. He was such a chill person. I think there were like some kids who really did not try in that class, and they ended up what was it? It's not console logging, but they just did like print. They just like calculated what the correct result would be in their head, and then they just like wrote a bajillion print statements, and they would just run their quote script and
awesome.
and it just printed everything that you're supposed to see. So it's like, oh yeah, good job, you completed the assignment, but it was not a program at all. Yeah, man.
I was one of those people. So.
To this day, I still think web page creation was coding. And Lisa was just like, no, it's not coding. And I'm just like, I really thought it was coding.
It's definitely confusing to get into. I remember I was really confused. Like, I thought creating web pages was coding as well. So I guess it wouldn't fit into like software engineering, but it's kind of related.
Yeah, that's why I was gonna do computer science, and I was just like, nah. So
Yeah, so it sounds like you guys were kind of on the money when it comes to predicting the majors you would have been in, but it sounds like there's like a slight change. So I guess I'm kind of wondering.
Change in the career path, yeah.
Yeah. And it kind of makes me wonder, like, how do you think the other person has changed the most since you last like properly spent time with each other?
Me and Iris haven't been as much in contact these last few years just because we've been going to college, and we kind of meet up like once a year, I'd say, like for holidays and stuff. But I definitely think that Iris has gotten a lot more mature. Kind of just, she definitely sounds like she has her life a lot more together than before. Not that she didn't have it together. Kind of like, she just kind of like found her own like path, and I'm really proud of her for that. So
nice. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
What do you think, Iris? What do you think?
Well, the last time I saw Daniel, he was still wearing Hollister and stuff. And now he's just like wearing black. I was like,
refined fashion. Okay,
I mean, like based on his Instagram stuff, I'm just like, wait, why black? And why that's so zigzag?
Hollister was cool in high school.
It was cool. Past tense.
Yeah, but like your haircut was just like, man, I'm so judgy right now, but like, it's like
just go.
That
for
was
it.
like something that changed a lot, and then
my hairstyle, really.
Like your fashion sense changed a lot.
For the better or for the worse, Iris?
I mean, it made me wonder if K-pop had anything to do with it. But
oh my god.
But then
so funny.
Yeah, that's like the one big change that I noticed. And then like also playing with computer parts and stuff like that.
Yeah, just like full on computer geek now. can't even go out in public.
And then doing like YouTube, man.
Wait, what? What?
Wait, what?
Because didn't you like? I mean, like, didn't you like do YouTube, like tried it out and whatnot?
Oh, I have a little channel where I kind of upload some
Yeah.
vlogs and some of my projects. So
Wait, that's so cool. I love that. Okay, I gotta check that out sometime.
I'll show you guys sometime. Yeah, I'll send it to you
Yeah.
after.
Yeah, please do, please do.
So yeah, like you changed a lot, but like put your like bubbliness into work pretty much. Really cool.
Yeah, thank you for that.
All right, this was a tougher
Yeah.
question,
Mhm.
and it's okay. We can all try to be nice here. What would you like to change about yourself? And then, what would you like to change about the other person? So be nice to yourself and the other person. So
You gotta be careful with this one.
yeah, I gotta.
Okay. Iris, if you have something, go for it. I'm gonna take a moment to think.
What would I like to change about myself? I've always thought I don't have like I'm not that confident in myself on a lot of decisions and stuff. I usually have to like ask another person for like a third person's point of view or a second person's point of view on like what I want to do. Like the culture show, I literally had to ask like so many people before I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna do it. Yeah. That was to like get over my fear of like the stage and being in front of people doing something. So
Right.
yeah, and then what would I change about Daniel? Let me think. I don't think I would change much about him in general though, because
Okay,
like
okay, let me rephrase.
yeah,
this
rephrase the question.
Okay, so what do you think is the other person's greatest weakness and strength? So you can like, we like to hear some positives too.
Just how am I different from like the perfect man, you know?
Something can change. I don't know. Maybe be less dark.
Last
Dark?
star. I
Wait,
think she means like
Chris?
the clothing, right? Like
Yeah.
Oh, okay. For a second, I thought you meant
Mix some more
personality.
colors.
I've been okay, so it's basically
Yeah.
once college hit and then I just started buying a bunch of black clothing because you could just wear it with anything and it was just nice to like not think about what you're wearing. So
Dude, I do the
that's
same
my
thing.
defense. Yeah.
Makes
Yeah, I do-
sense. Relatable.
Yeah, so I guess for me, something I like to change myself. I wish I was 5 years older, more mature, got my job together, everything. Probably have a family and something. But I'm kidding about that, but
Yeah.
I guess right now, I feel like in the past I was definitely more physically fit before, but since coming to like college and especially with the pandemic, I haven't been exercising as much. I'm definitely not out of shape, but I wish that I was, I definitely want to exercise more, and that's something I've been starting to do this summer. So I ran a mile for like the first time in like a year, and it was a very slow mile. So,
Aw, go easy on yourself. Okay.
yeah, definitely. But just getting into kind of exercising a bit more that's probably where I'd like to start for now. And then kind of like a long-term one would just be like develop my professional skills a bit more, and just in that direction, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're going into your senior year, so yeah.
Right,
that makes
right.
sense.
Mhm.
And I guess for Iris is I feel like Iris sometimes has a habit of downplaying her strengths, and that she occasionally, she says, I'm not too good at that, or no, I'm not too good at that. But I feel like realistically, if you believe in yourself, I really think that you can do a lot of things. So I guess that's something, if I could change, I would. But yeah.
I mean, like what though?
Oh, that's so sweet, Daniel. I love hearing that.
I guess like how you, like what we touched on before when you said you did communications because you weren't good at math, or, you weren't, I guess it was just math, right? But
Yeah.
I feel like if you put your mind to math, like you'd probably be pretty good at it. So
Yeah, I don't know, man.
yeah,
I
I
guess.
tried.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess-
Scrapman was hard.
Our high school math teachers were pretty mean. So
Yeah.
Okay, because I know we've been talking about the past for a while, but I think I do have one more thing I am wondering about the past, which is like, what kind of person did you hope to become when you were really little? Like, it can be as ridiculous as possible or as realistic as possible. Like, what do you remember wanting to become when you were your younger self?
Oh, I mean that's easy. When I was younger, it's probably I wanted to be either a scientist or a magician, and I remember those were the two career paths that I told everyone I was going to be, and yeah, it didn't end up happening.
Yeah.
Magician.
dream.
Wait, do you know any magic tricks?
Yeah, I actually I grew up performing magic, and I was really into like playing card magic, especially. Just I like the casinos and stuff, so I was obsessed with it. Yeah.
Wow. Do you know of David Blaine?
Oh yeah, David Blaine. He has some good stuff.
That guy is so amazing. Like, I think he does things where he literally asks people to like pierce his hand with a knife.
Yeah,
And
he's
then
into like yeah.
it's all real though, and then he's just like,
Right.
yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, that guy's crazy. I definitely want to be doing his stuff, but yeah, he's a cool guy.
Yeah.
I actually I think towards the end of high school I got a chance to like meet Penn and Teller, and then
No way.
one of my friends he actually I think like a few months ago he actually fooled Penn and Teller, so that was really cool.
Wow. What do you do?
He did a card trick. It's on YouTube, but I don't remember exactly what the title is called. My roommate showed it to me, so
Oh wow.
That's cool.
Impressive.
Yeah.
So what about you, Iris? What did you, when you were your younger self, what did you want to become?
You see, I never really had a path in mind, but most people tell me that I should like do fashion marketing or fashion something, and then I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm kind of good at that, and then that kind of went into my head, and then now it's just like maybe something more on the side of like the entertainment industry. Once I got introduced to the entertainment industry, so then I was just like, now that's why I chose communications now. So that's how that happened.
So you feel like you grew into the thing that you wanted to become? Like you kind of did what you wanted to do. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's like I literally went with the flow of what my interests were as I grew up. So
Okay, so then what were you like really afraid of then when you were little about growing up?
to me,
Yeah.
to Daniel,
Well, I mean, I want to know for both of you, frankly.
uh,
Let's start with you, Iris.
I was afraid that everything had to do with math. Like legit. Like that's one of my biggest fears. Because I'm just like, I really don't like this thing. So yeah.
what was I scared of? I don't think I was scared of too many things as a kid, and then I feel like growing up I started getting more scared of stuff. I was kind of like a dumb kid, so I kind of just did everything. But yeah, later on, I guess I started getting more scared of things. Like, you know, when you're a kid, you're just like playing with bugs and everything. Just you don't care about anything. But now, if there's like a fly flying around in my room,
Oh my goodness.
But I mean, those are just like. But as for fear about growing up, I guess I was hoping that like becoming an adult, when you're a kid, you're having fun with your friends playing games, and you don't really, when you look at the adults as a kid, you don't really see the same kind of enjoyment towards like what you find interesting as a kid. So I always thought that I was just gonna keep the same interest growing up, and I'm like, I'm never gonna give up on playing Pokemon or whatever it was. But
Yeah.
I guess I'm like less so scared of that now, because I feel like as you get older, your interests just kind of change, and it's not a bad thing. It's just and a lot of people still enjoy the same things, and it's you still feel a lot of nostalgia when you look back at what you enjoyed as a kid. But now I find a lot more enjoyment in kind of like the simple things of just getting together with friends, catching up and talking, listening to music, that kind of stuff. So a lot of stuff I thought was boring as a kid.
Yeah, I know. I used to be kind of scared when I was little. It's like, oh, is that what I'm going to become? Like, am I going to lose interest in all these
Yeah.
things that are actually
Yeah.
interesting? And then you realize, no, your taste just changes. It's,
Yeah.
it's not like you
I-
become more boring.
Yeah, I like that too. But I just thought of another thing that I was afraid of
What?
when I was a child about growing up. It's like the taxes and stuff. Because I don't know when I'm supposed to
Taxes,
start
what?
doing those. Like taxes and like what was it? College debt. Like all those things. This just comes like
You were
I don't
scared of
know.
that as a kid?
I
Well, like,
know, right?
well-
So responsible.
I mean, I'm afraid of that now, but like taxes in general though was like something I was kind of afraid of because I was like, do I do it myself or does someone do it for me?
I
Like
didn't even know
anything
what
that's
taxes
math
were
related.
until like,
Yeah,
That's very
but like
true.
college debt though, like when do you start paying those things? Like
Yeah.
right after you graduate or like right when you get a job? Like I don't understand how that thing works. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty lucky enough to have my parents help me out with paying for college expenses, but definitely so many people out there are not. They kind of struggle with that. And man, it's
Right.
hard. It's hard. That stuff stays with you. College debt stays with you for a really, really long time. So, yeah, I'm proud of you, Iris, for being so concerned in your very, very early years.
Well, the thing is, like, I was afraid of those things in like middle school and high school when I first like got known about these kind of situations. But yeah,
I'm just amazed. You knew what taxes
Yeah.
were in 6th grade?
Same.
I
Wow.
don't know. Anyway, what other question?
Well, okay, so then speaking of fears, I know we just talked about what you were afraid of when you were little about becoming like what you are now, but now I'm curious, like, what are you afraid of as you get even older? Like, what are you afraid of when it comes to aging?
Well, this is something I've been, thinking about a lot more recently, but it's kind of the idea that, once you graduate, you move to a city, you start working, and I guess one of my fears was, how do I stay in touch with like my good friends from like college and high school? Like the chances most likely, a lot of people are going to be going to their own jobs, own states and wherever they're going to end up. So we're not going to be physically close to each other. So, kind of staying in touch with people will definitely be harder. So I guess that's like one of my fears going forward. So I've tried to do a lot of things to kind of like help with that in college. I'm trying to like get together as often as possible, kind of, and then, I mean, we talk about these things too about, once we get jobs and stuff, like we still try and plan to get together and, hang out and stuff. So yeah, that's probably
Yeah.
my biggest fear.
Yeah, definitely. It is harder to like keep up with each other. I think
Right.
I think mainly when it's like, when you're in college, you're all in the exact same kind of environment. There's a lot of things you can relate to each other on. It makes it really easy to like bond and connect. And then I think once, everyone goes their separate ways, not only are you geographically disconnected, but oftentimes you're doing pretty different things. And it,
Right.
like, at least for me, I'm often afraid of losing that kind of connection where it's like, oh, what if our worlds become so different that we can't really speak to each other anymore?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that, as much as we are afraid of that, I think sometimes it's just a reality of life, like some relationships aren't just meant to last a lifetime. But of course, I always hope that they can.
Yeah. So I guess Adina, you probably have some more insight into this, right?
No. Been in this like whole work from home situation for slightly over half a year. So not much advice to give there, but yeah, it already sounds like you're taking a lot of, proactive measures to, stay connected, and that sounds great. So definitely keep doing that.
And
Yep.
I guess knowing that kind of like helps you appreciate like the friendships you have right now, like even more, just even if like you don't remain friends forever, like, you're at least able to enjoy like the current moments together and stuff. So
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, if it doesn't last forever, that's fine, but you have them now, and you should be happy that you have them now. So definitely the right mindset there.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, so what about you, Iris?
What
are
am
you
I
afraid
afraid of when it comes to aging?
Exactly.
Well, like everyone said, it's like the distancing apart from like friends and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm afraid of like being distanced away from friends too.
Right.
and stuff like that. So yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I know I've been talking a lot about fears and I have just like one last question for you about the present before I kind of wrap up and start talking about the future, because I know I've been talking for a while. What's the best piece of advice you've been given? Maybe something you're using now, and also like the worst piece of advice, because I'm sure there is bad advice out there, and I think people should know how to identify it. So, best and worst piece of advice from both of you.
Let me think about this for a second. Yeah. I guess I can start with like the worst piece of advice, because I feel like it definitely causes more harm than good, and that's like to tell someone. I'll explain after, but to tell someone that don't care about what other people think and just be you. Because on one hand, it's like it's good for you to go through life, and you shouldn't take like every criticism or whatever like to heart, but what people have to say about you is definitely good feedback for yourself to improve on yourself. And I think that by telling someone to kind of deafen yourself to what everyone says about you is kind of doing them a disservice, and that a lot of the problems that they would be able to fix early on just goes along with them, and so what you end up with someone who's just blind to like their own weaknesses, and they don't realize that until much later, because they've been told to just kind of ignore what everyone says that's bad about you. And sometimes like what it's like you listen to that because you don't want to hear it, especially from people you're not the best of friends with, and it sounds like they're talking bad about you, which it very well could be. But when you've like calmed down and you're not as in the moment of emotion, it's like it's good to reflect on kind of the negative feedback you get for yourself. So.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Yeah, it is kind of it kind of hurts sometimes when you realize, like, although some people will be saying things in a pretty terrible way, like it could have been phrased better, maybe they were talking behind your back, or you just overheard someone. And oftentimes people brush it off in order to kind of like shield themselves from that pain, where it's like, oh, they're just being bad people, I don't need to listen to anything they have to say. But I definitely feel like strip away the way they were saying it and look at like what exactly they were criticizing about you. It can definitely be a super constructive feedback. But that takes a lot of skill and a lot of patience. So I
think there's like two extremes to it as well, in that on one hand you don't want to take everything people say to heart, and just like you're one of those people who, like, I know there's some people who do like just they go over every single word that they hear about themselves, and that's also not good. But also just ignoring what everyone says about you is also not good. So it's like you have to find like the healthy balance of being able to take constructive criticism, I guess, especially as you like get older, and you have to be more professional, and you have to like mature up, I guess.
Yeah. I love that you talked about that. So that's the worst piece of advice you've been given. Any good advice you have in mind?
There's a lot of good advice. There's a lot of good advice. I guess the one that's been most directly helpful to me has just been read a lot of books, because by reading books you're able to experience like a lot of different perspectives. And the way I like to think about it is, for example, when you read a biography or something, you're able to experience that author's life in a much shorter time. Like you're able to experience a lot of their most valuable lessons that they took a lot of years to learn, and you're able to like absorb that for yourself in a very short time. And so what happens is when you read a lot of books, you're able to gain a lot of perspective, and all these perspectives, right? Like when you make a decision, they're able to like kind of guide and advise you and provide their own like unique views on like your own decisions, right? And what happens is you don't have to learn a lot of these like difficult lessons yourself if you're able to learn it from other people's lives or other people's experiences. So
Wow. Yeah, for sure. I never thought of it as like, I hadn't thought of it before as books being like the collective wisdom of many years. And now that you say it that way, for sure, that is so true.
when you really think about it, it's like it's really amazing because people, you know, a lot of people who write books, it's like at the like end of their lives where they want to like pass on the wisdom, you know. Like that's why like I really think it's really valuable, and yeah, I just think it's amazing. So
yeah. All right. Thank you for that advice. I will definitely have to do that more. I will read more books, starting with The Black Swan.
yeah, let me know what you think.
Yeah. All right. So what about you? Worst and best advice, or best and worst advice? Any order.
I mean, this is the best advice and the worst advice depending on your personality.
All right.
But like, it's like to network more, to like push the fish nest farther and the more broad, you know?
Okay.
And I'm just like, yes, it's good because then you get to know more people and then they can like help you like shortcut into businesses better. I don't know. But then like there's also a downside to that because like there's people that are introverted and don't like the social. So like how do you network if you don't like the social? You know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's like a best and worst.
So
But,
it's like
yeah.
it's like very uncomfortable for maybe introverts to take this advice, but you still think they should take it?
I mean, I think they should choose wisely who they network with because then like
Right.
because like I feel like introverts actually like take this advice and then like twist it into like find the person that can get you into the path that you want the fastest. So then they network with that person and then from that person network with the other person that is connected with that person because they can trust that person, you know? Which is really cool. But like what really like connects with this advice is basically like it's also like the advice where like people go like talk to your professors, let them like help you get a job or something. I'm just like that's not who likes to talk to other teachers?
I feel like this is advice from another generation to a younger generation.
Yeah.
I think it really depends on your environment. Yeah, some things are appropriate and other things are just like really difficult to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do try to network more. But I didn't try to talk to my professors more because I was like, I don't really know you and you're my teacher. Kind of thing.
Yeah, so like there are
So-
certain types of networking that you would encourage people to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I would rather go through friends and family than go through like professors. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, I do want to put a little caveat there and say that there's some people who, get really, really close with some professors. And then I'm definitely not saying like all professors are like this, but there's some out there who are like truly gems, and they like really reach out to students, and they'll have them over for dinner and really invest in their projects and help them grow as a person. So yeah, it just depends on your experience.
Yep.
I think that networking is like such a broad term that a lot of people get intimidated by when they first come to college and they're told to network. And
Yeah.
I feel like it's like a skill to be practiced like anything else. And when you tell an incoming freshman class or wherever people are told to network that
Yeah.
just go network, and people are just like, well, what do I do? It's like there's a proper way to network that's professionally appropriate and like in tune with culture and stuff. So I think that it's really important that the people that are in charge who teach or tell you to network, that they're able to actually teach you how to network. And I think that's something that can be done to make it less intimidating for people, because
Yeah.
you network correctly, it's definitely really helpful to get to know like people who can help you out, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. It's actually, now that you bring up that term, it sounds so cold. Like it sounds like
cold, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you have to get dressed up for career fair or something to do this thing called networking, but it's really a very casual thing. It's honestly, it just means like hang out with people, value them, because one day this relationship might really help you get somewhere else, but like just spend time with people. That's all we really mean.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I really dislike that word network, because it's like And at some point, it's like people are like, network, and then it just gets drilled in your brain. And then every time you're talking to your friend, it's like, am I networking? And it's like, you're not networking, you're just talking to a friend. Like, it's not, you don't have some ulterior motive, you know? You just want to get to know people, and you're able to exchange value. I think that's a better way to think about it, in that you're able to provide some value for this person, and they're also able to help you in other ways. So like, it's really about just the social connection between two people. It's not this like foreign cold thing that the word network or the name network like, kind of implies.
Yeah.
I always thought of networking like building trust. It's like a dating thing, but like not really. You know?
Yeah. You can see it that way, yeah.
Yeah, dating without the romance.
Yeah. But what I've thought about career fairs though, is just like they're always so narrow. Like even for the ones that are like specific to your major, it's always so narrow as to like what's most popular in your area.
Right.
For example, Oakland, like my university's like career fairs for like any major, even engineering or like communications, it's like there's so many car companies that just wants communications, and I'm just like, I don't want to work for a car company. So it's like I want to network with the right people, but then like, you know, provide me with the right people. So sad.
It's definitely a hard skill to master, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So keep networking people. Actually, no. I'm gonna stop using that word. I'm gonna stop using that word.
Keep talking to people. Keep meeting new people, and yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Out there in the world is pretty much.
Yeah.
There we
go.
go.
Think about it.
Yeah. Honestly, for the first step of dating, I literally feel like it should be called networking, and then it should be called dating. You network before you date. That way, like, people don't get confused, you know? That's like, are we boyfriend and girlfriend? When you're like in the still like getting to know each other stage, which is basically networking.
You don't think the word flirting or
yeah, can we kill the networking word?
I mean, like, it's basically like, yeah, you can call it flirting, but then like if you want everyone in the world to like understand what you mean, then just like it's basically networking the first stage.
Yeah, I can see how that goes.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm glad you guys both shared such great pieces of good and bad advice. Have just a few questions for you to wrap up everything we've gone over. So, firstly, how have you changed the most over the past few years? About yourself, just, you know, how have you changed the most over the past few years?
I think in high school, I was, you know, when you're like a middle school guy and you're like looking for advice on how to be, you know, grow up, I guess. And people are always, you hear like all kinds of advice, like, you know, just be yourself, you know, just be extroverted, you know, go out there and, you know, all this stuff. And I think I took that to heart, and it helped me in a lot of ways in that I was able to socialize and I was able to like, you know, talk to people, but I kind of took it too far in that, like, I feel like a lot of, it's not just me, but a lot of my friends as well, kind of, or just a lot of the guys that I know, like growing up, you're trying to be funny, you're trying to like, you know, make people alive, you're trying to get to know people, but by doing that, sometimes you like go too far, and like you just don't know like the appropriate amount of like humor or whatever like you want to do. So in some situations, you like, you know, you come across like in the wrong way, I guess. So I guess like coming to college and like, I guess just getting older, I've like kind of, the biggest thing I've changed is I've just kind of matured, and a lot of these things are positive traits in that when you're able to talk to people openly, when you're able to like be vulnerable, but you always have to know like the amount or the extent to which you should like show these traits, right? Like, like being vulnerable is a good trait to have, but when it's someone you've just met, for instance, right, you don't want to like spill to them your entire life secrets or everything, you know, right? So it has to be like done in moderation, and you have to know what's appropriate for what context. And so I guess one direct like applicable story would be like freshman year, I was trying to apply for board positions for one of the clubs I was in, and you know, they're interviewing you and they're like asking you, oh, like what were some challenges that you faced and stuff, right? Like a really standard interview question. And you know, I was told like be vulnerable, right? So I just went on this super like in-depth story about like all these emotional struggles I face and everything. And it's just like at that I'm like, oh, that's pretty good, right? But then you don't realize it's like too much for that situation, right? Like that's why there's like you have to take a lot of the advice that's given out to you. You have to take it in like some kind of moderation. Like you have to know what's appropriate for like what context, right? Like so that's why there's another piece of advice to just like be vulnerable, but be vulnerable on a scale of 1 to 10 at like a 7. so it's like, you know, sometimes there's like too much vulnerability, and if you go too far the other way, then it's like too much. So yeah, it's just learning to kind of like adapt to these like changing circumstances and like know like the appropriate behavior for like certain situations has been like something that I kind of learned and changed in, I guess.
Okay, yeah. So it sounds like you've learned how to better like filter yourself, where it's kind of like, you're trying to make people comfortable, but also, you know, be able to like deepen your connections with them. No, good advice. I definitely feel like the whole vulnerability term is getting thrown out there a lot, especially these days. So yes, good advice.
I hope that makes sense because it's been all over the place, but
yeah, have boundaries, maintain boundaries, and then you know, be smart about when you reveal yourself. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Iris, what about you? How have you changed the most over the past few years?
Well, besides the fact that I don't know if I should share this.
Oh, I mean, don't share if you're not uncomfortable. If you're not
No, I'm comfortable with it, but I don't know if the platform is comfortable with it. It's like,
oh, okay, all right.
yeah, it's like, besides the fact that because like over the years, middle school, high school, elementary school, I've always failed at one thing besides math, which is like getting my crush to like me back.
Oh no.
But then like,
oh, Iris.
No, like literally I had a crush throughout like from 1st grade to 12th grade. Like yeah. Failed it every year. But then like somehow, some way I got a boyfriend in my junior year of like university. I was like kind of confused, but oh well. So yeah, besides that, but that experience changed me a lot because I was like, I finally realized that like some things are not what you think they were.
Right.
Cause like I literally thought like the dude didn't come in with a motive, but he did. You know?
Yeah.
I was so convinced that he didn't come in with a motive that I had to like deconvince myself and then ghost the person. But yeah. Anyway.
Oh. Yeah, I think when you're younger, you're like so vulnerable to kind of putting so much importance on your identity as like being valued by certain other people, like the number of people who like you and exactly who likes you. And when you put so much weight on it, when someone does like you back, it's like, wow, you finally feel like a valid person. You have this sense of validation, and then if they go away, that sense of validation immediately decreases, and it's just such an unstable position to be part of. So
it's not like the validation kind of thing. It's more like I thought I learned so much from the dramas I watch and the books I read that I want to be fooled by this situation because it happens in those like things that I watch. Like the exact same scenario happens and stuff that I watch. So I was like, I'm most likely smart enough to get out of the situation or like not be in the situation in the first place. But I was wrong. He fooled me. But that's okay.
Hollywood and K-dramas were your teacher. It's probably not. It's probably a bad idea.
No, like the thing is like I usually can see past those kind of things.
Right.
But then somehow I didn't see past the reality. But that's okay.
Okay, so it sounds like you become more careful about the kind of people you want to trust and be around.
I mean, I was always careful, but then like somehow it slipped. So that's how like God changed me a lot in the mindset area to like build me before I try to get somebody else.
Yeah, I think it's important to take care of yourself because, once you've taken care of yourself, you're better able to take care of other people. So yeah, focus on developing yourself in addition to helping people.
Yep, there's
Alright.
that.
Okay, last 2 questions. They're gonna be kind of lightning-ish, but it's like many parts, but I want it to be short. So,
Okay, I'm ready.
all right. Where do you see yourself in 1 month, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 50 years? We're gonna answer each one of these with only 1 sentence each. Okay, so I'm gonna go from Daniel back to Iris. I'm gonna ask you both. Okay, where do you see yourself, Daniel, in 1 month? One
I will
sentence.
be in San Francisco. Doing my internship with some of my friends.
Nice. Iris, where do you see yourself in 1 month?
Where do I see myself in 1 month? Hopefully
One
with
sentence.
a job.
Okay, all right. Where do you see yourself in 3 years? Again, 1 sentence, Daniel.
I will be working remote in Tokyo.
Ooh, love it. Iris, where do you see yourself in 3 years?
Let's see. Working in the entertainment industry, hopefully in China, as like a personal assistant of some celebrity that I like.
That's
Okay. All right. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, Daniel?
awesome. On top of a mountain meditating.
I like that. All right. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, Iris?
Let's see. Maybe married with children. I don't know.
Okay, so you're gonna be a mother then. Okay.
I
Not
don't
bad.
know.
Not
But
bad.
like still working my job though.
Okay,
Yeah.
working mom. Got it.
But maybe remote.
Okay.
Like that kind of situation.
Working remote mom.
That's the part. I like that. You send your kids somewhere.
Yeah.
What,
All
private
right.
school? I'm joking.
No. All right, where do you see yourself in 10 years, Daniel?
I will be married with 2 children,
Mm.
Oh.
but I will be on vacation with my
Oh,
wife.
nice. I like it. Okay, Iris, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
At a friend reunion thing, or like somebody else's wedding,
Okay.
some friend's wedding with a bunch of other friends.
Okay. All right. Where do you see yourself in 50 years?
I'll probably be dead.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But if I wasn't, I'm kidding. But if I wasn't dead, probably retired in China. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's cool.
Iris, will you be alive still?
I'm totally kidding. But okay.
I mean, I hope I'll be alive. But like, I feel like in 50 years, wouldn't that be like grandma aged already? So it's like
Yeah.
with like
Well,
Grandchildren?
Some our elderly bones walking around.
in a retirement home or just my home. I don't know. I feel like China's a good place to retire because it's all apartments over there
I
pretty
agree.
much.
I agree. And then
All
your
right.
families just all living in your place.
Yeah.
Okay.
Subways.
So in 50 years, both of you are probably going to be retired in China.
Mhm.
That's great. That's great. All right. My
Yeah.
last questions for you are basically the same thing I've just asked, but now I want you to say what you think the other person will be doing. So, Daniel,
Wow.
where do you see Iris in 1 month? Also, please answer in 1 sentence because then, you know.
I think she will have found a job and she'll be working remote at her home.
Okay. Iris, where do you see Daniel in 1 month?
Well, Probably working at his internship.
It's a safe answer.
Okay. All right. All right. Where do you see the other person in 3 years?
Iris will be the mother of 15 children.
Oh, dang.
15!
Oh, dang.
That's a lot.
That's 5 per year.
Oh, the math doesn't add up, does it?
I mean, no, it's possible. If she gets like 5 at a time, 3 times in a row.
No, it's called.
You have to
it's
hit
called,
jackpot,
like-
yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
No. But what do I see Daniel in 3 years? Let's see. Honestly, I think he might rethink the computer science path and then like go esporting. Like literally esporting, because I feel like esports will be really popular, like legit more popular than now in 3 years.
I don't know. I might be too old for that. My old man, like,
Oh,
yeah.
reactions can't keep up with the younger kids.
Oh man, 3 years from now, already too old for this.
No,
Okay.
you'll be a coach. You'll be a coach.
Oh, I
Or like
that.
have your
That
own
would
like
be fun.
esports company.
Ooh, I like that too.
I
Yeah.
do like that. Yeah.
All right. Where do you see the other person in 5 years?
5 years. That's 2 years after her 15 children.
Please
I'm
don't say
guessing-
20.
I'm guessing she'll have like a house and she probably like adopted a dog or something and she's with her husband enjoying breakfast and the sun setting with their kids running around.
Aw.
That sounds reasonable. Where do I see him in 5 years? Most likely at the peak of his career.
Ooh.
And
Is it esports
then-
manager or computer science?
Well, whichever one you actually go into.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. I dig that. Okay. Where do you see the other person in 10 years?
Iris will be hosting a get-together party, and
Oh.
every single person from Troy will be attending on top of the Singapore,
Singapore.
the one building with like the pool on the top.
Oh,
of it.
yes. I know what you're
Crazy
talking about.
Rich Asians, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, I would go to that.
Mhm.
That's a lot of money.
That will be the first time me and Adina meet in real life.
Oh man, 10
Oh,
years from
really?
now. Good. I'll see you in 10 years. You better age well.
Of
Okay.
course.
Wow. Yeah. What do I see Daniel in 10 years? After well, it's not really after the peak because he's probably still in the peak, but I feel like he'll like date and get married during the peak of his career.
Okay.
Yeah.
Date and get married in that order. Not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you can marry and then
Very-
date, but like, never heard of that.
Am I just getting into it or what's happening here? 30 minutes. My God, I need a girlfriend.
I mean, if it can take 5 years for you to like get a girlfriend, and then
It
5
takes me
years to
5
actually
years. Like, are you saying I'm hitting on the same girl for 5 years? It takes 5 years.
Well,
for her to
yeah,
say-
she might be one
That
of
is
the.
true love.
She might be one of the
Oh, yeah.
esports people that you're like
Oh
managing. You
my
know.
God.
Just
That
kidding.
sounds like some.
Yeah. No.
If it happens, it happens. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You can make a K drama out of that.
I'll write the script.
It has to span 5 years, though. so
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
A long time.
Well, what'd you say? 1 year went by. 2 years went by. You know?
1 year. Yeah, just progressively getting older and older. Just-
All right, last question for both of you.
Mhm.
Where do you see the other person in 50 years?
50 years. That is very far into the future. Realistically, I can see Iris back in Troy, like
Oh.
at the same house, and she's just revisiting. She's like, "Wow, nostalgia," and we're like past like World War VIII or something. and
Oh my
World
goodness.
War VIII.
No.
I remember what this place used to be like back when we used to play Pokemon and stuff, and reminiscing over the good days. And then the podcast is like 2 billion followers. And
Oh yes.
Right.
Yes. I like the sound of that.
Something
Okay.
like that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do I do to you in 50 years? Most likely, let's just say, retired from your job, but like you passed down your job to like a child of yours or something. And then they actually enjoyed the job, not like some other people
Oh, so
that
I
like
don't
probably
enjoy
don't
it.
enjoy it, you know?
So I'm just like, yeah, just take my job. I don't want it anymore.
I mean, like you'll probably like retire because of like you yourself can't really like manage those people anymore. But then like
Yeah. My esports business is like failing
Yeah,
on my
exactly.
shoulders or something. And, okay, I see.
yeah, it's like a lineage kind of like career thing. No,
Zhang's esports company.
I mean you can think of something much more esports than that, right? But yeah,
The sound of that. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Sounds like you will both be doing pretty well.
Adina, you just set the course of our life. Are you okay with that?
I'm okay. I'm okay with that. Sounds like you are gonna be a bajillionaire. Okay, and it sounds like Iris is gonna have a really big, loving family, and will live a long time. So
You'll have to bear those responsibilities on your shoulders for the rest of your life.
Right.
I will. Man, so heavy.
Yeah.
As long as you're okay with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm still not over the 15 children's thing.
Wow. Oh my goodness. I'm sure your body will bounce back, Iris. You will, yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I feel like I can only do a third of that, which is 5. But that's
still a lot,
okay.
but, yeah.
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 All right. So thank you so much for talking with us, Daniel. I know it went for
Of course.
quite a while, and you were so generous with your time and so patient with us setting this all up. You have been an amazing, amazing guest. It has
Yep.
been so much fun talking to you, and of course, also hearing all of Iris's answers.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
Thank you for being here.
Of course.
Iris, any last
Of
words?
course.
Nothing much to say. Just very thank you.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I had a fun time. So, and it was nice meeting you, Adina.
Oh yeah, it was nice to meet you too, Daniel.
It's good talking again, Iris, as always. So.
Yeah.